Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Trent Gilbert. I'm the Vice President of Student Search Solutions here at Carnegie, and we are excited for you to join us for this session of The Connection. This session is titled Confidence Matters, New Actionable Insights and to Improve Enrollment Predictability, featuring Diego Fanara from Unibuddy. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items for everyone. This session will be recorded, and we'll be providing links to the recordings to all attendees by the end of the week. All session attendees are on mute and off camera. While the video streaming window you're currently viewing offers both WOVA and Zoom functionality for chats and QA, we ask that you please use the Zoom chat and question and answer functionality as part of the Zoom feature. This will allow our speakers and our support team to respond to your questions. And at the end of the sessions, we will answer just as many questions as time allows. If you have questions or need help during the conference, you can email our team using conferences@carnegiehighered.com or message us through WOVA through the Ask Organizers Anything section of the community board. And finally, we encourage you to be social during our sessions and use the hashtag #TheConnection. Use the hashtag #TheConnection hashtag. There's a lot of hashtags there. And tag @Carnegie HQ for any posts you share about today's session. And with that, I will hand it over to Diego. Thanks for joining us, Diego.
Awesome. Thank you, Trent, for having me and the Carnegie team. It's great to be with all of you today. So thank you for joining today's session on the power of student confidence in enrollment predictability. So what I will cover today, it's exploring how confidence impacts enrollment, the shift of student expectations and behaviors that we've been able to see over the past years, and how data-backed insights can support your recruitment strategy. I would start first with a bit of an introduction of what is Unibuddy and how we've been able to capture all of this great data and insights, which hopefully will be just a confirmation of what you already know, or you might have a key takeaway that I will go through at the end, as well as a Q&A that I'll be happy to answer any question. So I'm Diego Fanara, so I'm the CEO and co-founder of Unibuddy, and so I'm just going to go through 2 slides to introduce you of what is Unibuddy if you're not already aware of it, or if you've yet not used it, just so you get a bit of context of all of the rest of the session, of the data, where it's coming from, and how we've been able to analyze it. So Unibuddy, this is who we are and how we partner with universities and colleges. So we are a platform that connects prospective students with peers, so current students or incoming students together to boost enrollment. Our thing, what we're really focusing on as an organization, is to help build your prospective students' trust and confidence through their journey, so they can make the best decision the fastest way, so that can increase your yield and reduce your sum amount. And how we do it is quite unique, is that we're leveraging the power of peer-to-peer. So we're leveraging student ambassadors, your tour guides, anyone that can represent the best your institution, to connect with prospective students, or building community around admitted students, for example. And so these amazing interactions, they allow us to generate and gather unique real-time insights about students' behaviors, what they're talking about, what's the trends in what they're discussing, or their concerns or their motivations. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about today. What are the insights of those students' interactions? And so when I will talk about peer-to-peer or community, there are really 2 main parts of the Unibuddy platform. Firstly, it's the peer-to-peer chat to help increase yield, and that's the ability to connect, as mentioned, prospective students with current students. We also have AI tools, which is what helped us to gather this data, like a chatbot to manage inquiries, as well as content that current students can create to engage with prospective students. And then there's also community. So this is more of like one-to-many conversations. So this is replacing your Facebook groups or anything you might help to engage admitted students. So there's an impact throughout the funnel. And you will see when we share data about the confidence of students, we will look at which stage of the funnel do we see a drop or an increase in confidence and why is the case. To give you an idea of scale as well, when I'm going to share about the data that we've collected. So at Unibuddy, we partner with over 600 universities and colleges across the world. It's about 200 in the US. And the data that I'm going to share with you today are only for US institutions. So we have much more data, but we've omitted them for today's presentation. So it's only the data of aggregated of our 200 college and university partners in the US. We have about 3 million student users. So this is the data that that helped us collect today from about 30 million messages that there's exchanged between each other or with current students. So this is just a bit of background so you understand where all of this information that are going to follow is coming from. So the first part of this session, it's something that, in our opinion, guide a bit of everything when we talk about decision making and empowering better decision making. So the proxy that we're using and that we got really interested about is student confidence, and why the confidence of students is so critical in their decision making from the moment they're thinking of where to study all the way through their journey and graduation. So there's a lot of ways to describe confidence. This is maybe the one that talked to me the most, that it's more than a feeling, it's really a trust in oneself that heavily influence decisions like choosing a college. And so I don't know how you're able to track confidence level today, but I'm sure you might see students' lack of commitment growing throughout the funnel, where maybe years ago it was pretty clear when students were going to make their decision, and now up till the day before questioning if the student is going to show up or not. And there's no more straight line in decision, if it's ever been. And really the reason why I started this company was because of my own lack of decisions, if I must say, about the decisions of which college to choose, which university to choose, how to make this decision, and based on what information. And so nothing new, the role of confidence in the student journey. It's such a powerful predictor for academic success, for access as well. The more we research and we engage with students from diverse backgrounds, and especially the more underrepresented backgrounds and affinity group, we see that the biggest barriers to higher education is confidence. It's the reaction that this is not for me. This school, this college, university as a whole is not for me. I don't belong there. And so we're trying to show every student that there's people like you that have been there, that have done that, you can do it. And so confidence plays such a role in predicting students joining, in accessing even widening the top of the funnel all the way through graduation, that we spend a lot of time understanding it, influencing it, and then, as you will see, measuring it as well. And so the research that we've done with behavioral scientists as well, when designing our product, or all the research that we do when we talk to students, is really in 3 buckets that we like to simplify it, of what drives student confidence to make decision to join your institution. And so number 1 is really everything that is about knowing what to expect. It's about the trustworthy of the information. And so those bullet points might be what you receive the most in questions, or it's really on top of students' mind. Financial clarity, the career outcomes, the program details, the campus experience, what's the vibe on campus, or I mean, this is where we think that the peer-to-peer might help, but campus visits, everything that can really bring authenticity and trust in the information that you bring, just so that students feel like, okay, I know what my life is going to be at this institution. I can picture it, I can visualize it. Once this is done, and this is more talking to the brain in our head, there's more of the emotional part that comes in, which is, okay, now I've got clarity of what to expect. It's more about the connection that I have to the school or to the campus and the institution. So how do I feel connected? Do I get a sense of belonging? And this might come maybe more towards the end of the recruitment funnel, where then peer stories, finding my people, the campus engagement opportunities, identity alignment. Really, this is maybe more talking with the heart, and like, do I really feel like I'm motivated to get there, and I will unleash my full potential. And once you've nailed those two pillars, the third one, which is maybe one of the most challenging as well, it's empowering through a clear process. And we hear this a lot from students. You know, I hear the quote that I love the most from one of our user, which is the shotgun approach of institution, where they will send 20 emails from different part of the institution about all the steps that needs to be made, and students are kind of lost of what is the next step. Like imagine if a GPS will tell you the next 10 turns, right or left, that you have to make, rather than just one by one. And that's where they need personalized support based on where they are, so they get clarity on the step-by-step of their journey. So trustworthy information, connection, and a clear process is what we've seen helping the most in driving student confidence as a proxy of enrollment. But let's dig in. The first thing is, let's look at what your students are saying. So as mentioned, we've got a million of users of Unibuddy, and every year we run a student survey where we ask the students directly. So what you will see in our data today, it's a combination of this one survey that we push every year. And so this is the results of last year's survey. We're computing the results for this year, as well as in product. So in the Unibuddy product, we're able to capture micro survey on an anonymized way that we can aggregate, as well as through the conversation. So this is a combination of both that we're bringing you. And so the first thing about what's the state of confidence level in student as of last year's survey, what we've been able to gather is that 67% of students lack confidence in their social abilities. And so this was kind of surprising to me. And what was the most surprise, I mean, not that they're like social abilities, because we know especially the cohort that are coming are the cohort of students that were during the pandemic in high school, and so they might have missed the last years, or they really didn't have a normal path of social development, and so maybe it's more difficult, especially with, I mean, you know, we're all the same behind our screens, and so it's a bit difficult to imagine the interaction in real life. But what was the most surprising to me is that they actually felt less confident about their social abilities than their academic abilities. So students felt much more confident in their academic abilities to thrive at the university than their social one. And so that's really piqued our interest about what are we doing as an institution or in the sector to really help with alleviate this fear of making friends, fitting in, and knowing how to navigate the social aspects of it. This also might not be a surprise, but of our users, over 30% of students had low or no confidence at all that they will remain at college until graduation. So there are a lot of things for that when asked that are out of our control, like they don't know if they will be able to afford it, or if they will need to go back to work. But it just shows as well that there's still a high level of anxiety that they might start, but they might not think that they will be able to finish the journey. So these were some background about the current state of confidence in terms of the biggest nerve is about social abilities and also not being sure that they will be even able to finish. This graph, which might be a bit small, but I'm going to walk you through it, was really interesting to me because we've asked students their confidence level evolving based on different stage of the journey or based on the decisions or the events that was in front of them. And so when it's low, a low point, that means that that was the moment where they were the most nervous. And when it's a high point, it means that they were the most confident. And so, as you can imagine, the lowest point is taking college entrance and figuring out finances. So this is most of a known. This is really stressful time. Filling out application as well. So again, maybe the clarity of the process of how to do it, see a spike in nervousness. And then the part where they were the most confident about is attending open days. Of course, reviewing acceptances and making my choices. And really the one that was high on the right side was finding my people. And so this is really, again, all of this part about connectedness, which is related as well with the first point of attending open houses. People, as soon as they feel that they found their people, they found their tribe, their group, they're much more confident about fitting in and about the connectedness of the institution. And so that's something that we're going to focus a lot about those confidence, and I will show another graph, another part of the conversation, which is how this has been evolving throughout the funnel, as well as how does it differentiate based on the segment of the students, based on if they're undergrad or grad or international or domestic prospects and applicants. So the second part of the session, after confidence and really digging in of how confidence has been evolving and how it impacts the decision making of students, there's also something that we looked into, which will not be surprising to any of you, but really how the student expectations and behaviors have been shifting and continue to shift. They're expecting much more personalized engagement than in the past. They don't just want information, they want connection, they want engagement. And this is based on the combination of things, as you might expect. All of our technology platform have changed. We went from emails to instant messaging, now to AI. Everything is on demand, everything is personalized to my individual level. And they're really expecting the same level of personalization and decision-making process than when they're buying things or when they're shopping online. And that's maybe a bit of the gap between the expectation that they have and the reality, which create a bit of that nervousness of not feeling in control. And so what we've been able to capture as well from our survey is that nearly half of the prospects say that most institutions, and again, this is only for US institutions, that they spoke to didn't keep them engaged. And so there's a real disconnect there where how the students is perceiving engagement and what does engagement mean. So for example, for a prospect, engagement doesn't mean receiving an email. It doesn't mean receiving a newsletter. Engagement means something much more. And so the next slide is maybe the craziest stat that we've captured, and which I feel it shows the biggest disconnect, where maybe it's, can they expect something that is reality or that institution can adapt to? And so students say that 71% want every single piece of their outreach to be personalized. So that means that when they receive an email, when they receive an SMS, when they receive a letter at home, that it's all personalized to them, to their individual need, based on what their fear right now, based on which stage they're at on the funnel, rather than just a general mailer. And so, I mean, it puts me back to my chair, because I'm just wondering, how is that even possible based on the bandwidth, the resources available to institution, as well as the tech stack that are available to make that happen. But at least that gives you a bit of an idea of like what students expect. And this is where they feel that they're not being engaged, because they're not being engaged the way they want to or they expect. And this is what creates the nervousness and the lack of confidence. And lastly, when asking, we're also running surveys for our own as institution admins, and 68% of them told us that while there are a lot of tech stack, maybe too many, to be honest, which don't talk to one another, those tech platform, they were giving little to no insights into the student needs. While there were a lot of data, maybe on an aggregate level that they could purchase to some partners and a lot on the CRM, it was not going to the granular level of like, what does James want right now, and it's on his mind, and how can I influence that? And so this is a bit of the equation that is not working at the moment. It's that students feel they're not engaged because there's no personalization. But to personalize, we need to know the student better on an individual level. What do they need in real time? And so this is the question that we've been asking us, which is, how can we know the student better based on where they are, based on what they need, so that we can help with that level of personalization at scale, so that they feel more engaged. And if they feel more engaged, they feel more trust and confidence, leading to higher yield and enrollment. And so the next section of this session is to show you and give you access to this data. So the data of how about looking at that confidence level of students evolving through different stages based on where they are. And based on where they are, what does matters most in their decision processes? What are they talking about? What if you could elevate yourself and understand all of those data points? And what are some case studies of how you could use data like this? And so we've divided this section into 3 key data points. And by the way, all of these data points are what we're collecting on Unibuddy right now. So out of those millions of users that are chatting to current students or chatting to one another, there are some functionalities of micro survey where we're asking the students directly their confidence level based on where they are in their journey. We're asking them where they are in their journey, and we're also asking them what will make them feel more confident. And so while institutions have access to this on an individual level, right now I'm going to show you this on an aggregate level across all the institutions that we partner with in the US in an anonymized way. And also to give you an idea, 50%, so 50% of the student users are answering those surveys. So it's a really high uptake that they're saying what they need, because there's maybe a bit of a false idea that students don't want to give the data and they're super private and they're really worried, and which is true. Everyone's really worried about the privacy. But when they're really interested in getting something, for example, joining an institution, they're more willing to give their data because they feel that that's going to be useful for them to open up about what do they need to be more confident about their path. So this is just a bit of more of context setting. And now we'll go into how confident are students at different stage of the enrollment funnel. And so we've got a lot of data, but rather than doing data dump and like just giving you a lot of data. We tried to summarize it in just one slide. And if you're interested, we have a whole deck with much more data that segmented per type of students, per affinity group. But I felt for today's session, I really wanted to look at the key takeaways that we've been able to extract from the data. So the first key takeaway, which is you see students going through their journey, prospects' confidence actually firstly increase all the way from gathering information to applying, and then decrease until enrollment. And so, I don't know, maybe that's something you can react in the chat if that's something you would have seen or expect. But this is definitely something that was interesting to me, because I would have felt that actually the most stressful part is knowing where to apply. I mean, I imagine that from the admission point and comparing, like it would be stressful of which one to choose, but actually it goes down up to enrollment. And so the first key takeaway that I would love you to take is the last miles are the most important. It's not a straight line of confidence that the more like they're getting closer to joining in September, the better they will feel. It's actually quite the opposite. Everything becomes more real. They're not sure if they're making the right decision. You know, I mean, we all are the same. You know, that we second guess ourselves, we overthink. And so this moment after they're being admitted is so crucial to keep them engaged, and engaged the way they want to, through personalization, through authentic community and connection, and helping them find their people. The second data that we're looking at is, all right, so this is your confidence level and where you are based on a part of the funnel. The second part is what matters most in their decision process. So what will drive, what will help you be more confident? And this is the way we ask the question is mostly what information basically do they need? What are they lacking right now that will increase their confidence? And so you can see as well, based on the where they are in the journey, there are a bit of fluctuation, but really in gray, in purple, and in yellow, it's 80% of what students need and what they feel, that it's about career opportunities. This is constantly increasing even more when they're being admitted and comparing. So again, when that confidence drop, where it's becoming real, where they feel like I need to make sure I'm making the best choice. Now they're starting to expand their horizon. They're like, okay, now it's not just about university, it's about my life. And so ask yourself, how much are you enough engaging maybe the career services for them to be part of the conversation, for them to share information? Are you engaging with alumni or students that can provide testimonies about what are the options, what are the opportunities in terms of career? This is the number one thing that can help them grow their confidence throughout the stages, but even more in the admitted and when they're making their final decisions. Number two is courses. So ongoingly, they feel they lack information about the course in general. Those bullet points on the brochures, on the website, they don't have enough of a feel of knowing what to expect. Again, they talk a lot about what's the vibe of the course. I mean, that's how the new generation talk. But they really want to be able to picture themselves in there. And again, they're expecting the same level of clarity than when they're purchasing something online. And so I don't know what the option is maybe putting them a VR helmet where they can feel like they're in the classroom and see what to expect. Half joking, maybe we're going to get there. But there's really something about the clarity of the course and how it's going to be their academic life. And then lastly, not surprising as well, financial aid. which is, it's actually even more prominent when they're gathering information. So it feels that they're screening even more institution way earlier than anyone might think, based on financial aid and opportunities. So I don't know when you're putting in front of students your financial support and scholarships, but it's actually more important when they're gathering the top of the funnel information, because that's where they might even start screening your institution, rather than more down the funnel when it's becoming more real. So these are the key takeaways. The other key takeaway is that ranking and brand, I mean, that's the blue line. It's very small. I feel the students are, I mean, of course, you've got the top schools and where you've got where their family went, and there's still maybe a bit of tradition there. But I feel that like they're putting themselves straight away into the type of institution that that will help them, and they're much more focused on the outcome, and if they can afford it. And so maybe ranking and brand was a thing of the past. It still matters, but it's definitely not the number one decision driver that helps students today. And this is true for both domestic and international students. And what we've seen undergrad versus postgraduate, and again, we will be able to, I see in the chat that someone asked for the report link, and we'll share that with you, with all of you that are interested. But you will see that there's some level of difference between domestic and undergraduates, but those key takeaway remains true for the global students. All right. Now, this is the interesting part, which is what are students talking about? So I'm going to give you the opportunity right now to do a bit of social listening. I'm going to give you data of what this millions of students that have logged into Unibuddy, to our university partners. They've started engaging with current students, with alumni. They talked with one another that are also other admitted students. What are they asking themselves about? What do they want to know? And so again, we provide this data to our university partners on a very micro level. And today I just wanted to give you the key takeaway on the macro level, aggregated to all of our partners, just to give you a bit of an idea and value that you can take away today. So these are data over the past 3 months. So you've got a graph of the key theme and topics that students have been talking about. And the bullet points at the top are really like what's been the biggest driver of conversations. And so number one has been cost of living concern. And so you can see that all of this is the blue part. This is everything that we see students are asking themselves about is just more, how are you doing it? How have you been able to afford life? I mean, I sit in New York City, and I can tell you that if you look at the New York City chat, it's all about how can you afford New York City? Where are you living? How much budget are you doing per week? I mean, there's all sort of question, and then it's part of the ambassador training if what they can share or not. But the more authentic, the more trustworthy it is. And so there's a lot of question about, have you been able to afford all of that? The scholarships, like, have you made this work? And this is even more true, as you will see, for international students, but as much for domestic. That's one of the top driver. On the purple side, this is a lot about guidance on application process. And so again, they're asking each other, how did how they did it? How did they go through? So if you do interviews, for example, there's a lot of questions about interviews, about how they manage the process, what are the key tips. And so again, really trying to know what to expect from the process by talking to someone that's been there, done that. Program specific inquiries. So you can see these are the red bars. And so again, this is all related to what we just talked about, which is they want to go beyond the brochures and the website's description, or maybe the live events that are happening. They really want to get an inside track of students that are doing it right now with very, very personalized and specific questions of how it's happening. Campus life and student support. So again, this is all about, I mean, I might repeat it a lot, but what's the vibe, what it is, what are the societies, what are the group, and especially the asking question for students like me, because the ambassadors that you put, the best way is to provide a diverse ambassador group for a different affinity group so that students can find someone they can relate to, and then they ask themselves questions that are very, very precise about their culture and about how they would want to fit in, again, to grow and gain this confidence. And then there are also a lot of questions about the student experience, which is all about internships, career guidance. And so again, this is what we talked about. They really want earlier and earlier. It's not just about the ranking and the brand. It's more about what's the value for money? What's the outcome that I can get? What is your experience? How did you think about it? Do we want to do the same thing after? And how can I align that to my life aspiration? So drilling down a bit further per segment as an example. So domestic and international, the same is true for the cost of living. Maybe the difference is that domestic students actually will care more about the career guidance and program insights. And the campus life and student experience, while the international prospects, one of the top thing after cost of living is housing and accommodation. They want to understand what's the living situation, and not just like where do you live, but it's more based on their culture. They would want to try to find someone that's from the same country that they can ask the questions about. Just what's a normal living situation where they're from and how they've been able to adjust. Same as their cultural and social integration support. How did they do to adjust to come living in the US or in this country in particular? So these are the kind of insights and key takeaways that we've seen in terms of the confidence evolving through time. What are the key decision drivers that can help students increase their confidence, as well as what they're talking about to each other that really matters the most to them. And so I wanted to also share a quick story from Fordham University, Gabelli School of Business. So they're one of our longtime partner, and they actually leverage those insights in real time to personalize the student journey. So they're one of our first partners and design partners that what they were doing is that on a monthly basis, or we send all of this data to Slate or other CRM system, and so they're able to capture on the timeline when students engage, what was the summary of the conversation that they talked to ambassadors, what do they need right now, and they were able to automate some follow-up and some insights that was particularly in need of the students right now. And it was formidable to see just the impact that it had on their funnel. And so they were able to really accelerate not just the conversion. So they saw 60% conversion rate of students that were progressing through the enrollment funnel that were part of Unibuddy, but also just the speed of how students were going through. And I think Christina saw it as mentioned, it was like having a direct source into their thoughts process. So really getting to a segment of students or individual students, really deepening the understanding of those grad students. What do they need right now? What is the best comms that I can share so that it helps be much more efficient in the outreach. So I think we've got about 5-10 minutes before the Q&A. And so to wrap up, I wanted to share the key takeaways of the session that I hope you will take home, either confirming what you already knew or maybe some new insights. So of course, our old belief is that higher confidence means higher likelihood to enroll. And that is why we're using confidence as the proxy for enrollment predictability. And so the first key takeaway is that the confidence shift as students progress through the funnel, but it's actually not just going up. Mostly it's going down after they're getting admitted. And so we must pay attention to later funnel stages even more than earlier in stage. It's not just about expanding to more leads and fighting for attention at the top of the funnel. It's really also making sure that there's no leaky bucket of confidence in the last miles and getting students through that finish line in terms of confidence. We talked about branding and rankings, and of course they matter, but students say it's really not the key decision driver in what they need when they're in your funnel. Focus as much as you're able. I know with bandwidth and limited technology, personalization is difficult, but anything that can help to personalize the engagement with real connection, authentic, trustworthy information, getting feel like they're connected to your people and to your institution will go a long way. And of course, for that, try to identify where is the source of your real-time data. Where can you know what students have on their mind? Maybe there's things you haven't thought about how you can collect that. Maybe during a campus tour, you can ask a mini survey to students to ask them what they feel and then follow up with that. Anything can help to adapt the outreach based on the evolving student sentiment and the matching their expectation. And of course, this is what I believe the most in because this is what I would have dreamed to have and that we keep hearing from prospective students, but they all, I mean, almost all want to talk to current students. They want to have that trustworthy, their confidence from talking to someone they can relate to that been there, done that. And so, however, if it's on Unibuddy, another platform, if it's on campus tour, just showcase your best marketing assets. Let your students do the talking. Maybe it will require a bit of efforts to set it up at the beginning, but then this provides so much long-term efficiency. And so I'll finish on a few slides again, just so you've got pictures on your mind of how we are able to collect this type of data, this type of engagement through our product. And then we'll go to Q&A. So again, some image, but we'll be happy to run you through a demo, but that was not the point of today. The Unibuddy chat, you know, your ambassadors, give them a place on your website so students can come and connect with them. Offer community groups so students are not on Facebook anymore. Give them a space where they can meet with one another, where they can see who else is going to attend your institution or your group. This will come a long way in creating that belonging that they're try for. Create authentic content again. So we talked about having students that share their life on campus that you can use on social media, and then of course the data insights. However you do it, you can do it through your CRM, collect surveys. What do they need right now? How confident are they at different stage of the journey? This is the kind of data that we're giving on Unibuddy, but you can set it up in a lot of different ways so that then you have a better idea of how can you personalize your outreach and student journey. And that was it. This was also the assistant, which is building a chatbot and peer-to-peer together, but we'll be happy to tell you more about Unibuddy if you're interested. Trent, that was
awesome. Diego, thank you so much. If you folks have questions, you can drop those in the Q&A functionality as part of the Zoom or the webinar chat. Diego, the one question that, or I guess kind of a follow-up point is, I think oftentimes that quote you said about the expectations around personalization, right? And I think a lot of times people think personalization, I just have to drop someone's name in there. And so when you say personalization, right? You mean really trying to get personal with them, not just, hi, Diego, right? Not just putting their name in there.
Exactly. And I think this is where I see the biggest disconnect. You know, the first stat with 50% of the students feel they're not being kept engaged.
Right.
And that might become crazy for institutions. They're like, but wait, we send them an email every 2 days. We're engaging with the students. But for them, they're expecting engagement to be personalized. And to your point, it's not just, hi, Diego. It's, hi, Diego, I know that what's the most important thing for you is that here's some information that might help you with this.
Yeah, so it's about taking the data and actually creating a personalized content as opposed to just putting someone's name in there. And I think oftentimes as marketers, we think, oh, personalization, I included the person's name in the subject line and it's personalized. And so I think that was really kind of helpful just to kind of follow up with the audience and joining. So, well, thanks so much for your time today. I appreciate it and we all appreciate it. And there's Diego's contact information. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Our next session for the Connection Conference is the role of content marketing amidst algorithms and AI, which starts at 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you need any help throughout the conference, feel free to email us at conferences@carnegiehighered.com or ask organizers anything section of the community board of HOVA. And be sure to head back to the agenda where you can take a look at the remaining sessions. We have another chock full day tomorrow as well after this afternoon's next session. So Diego, thanks for the time. Everyone, thanks for joining us as part of the Connections Conference. Be well. Thanks.